What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today I want to correct a few things that I said in the last video, and I also want to shed some light on this announcement that was released in the forum about this 10,000 ruby login event. Now, we all love rubies, right? We love rubies. It's the main currency in the game. We're like, thank you, thank you, thank you, Netmarble. However, it's getting to the point where when we see this stuff, even though this is for the 3rd anniversary, and it's awesome that we're getting rubies, and I'm happy to see it, these are on time restrictions. And the thing about this is, whenever I look at this, I think, oh God, are they going to throw out another banner, another BS banner? I mean, we just had an SS banner, right? We had the 7 Deadly Sins. Then we had the BS banner that gave us 10,000 rubies for that. Then we had the SS banner that gave us 5,000 rubies for that. And now they're giving us this. And are we going to be able to get a memory for a BS character, right? Are we going to be able to get a BS memory for a character? And what kind of event would we have for that? I mean, I have no idea if we're even going to get another BS banner right away. I honestly think that would be flat ridiculous to get another BS banner so fast. And I have no idea if that's going to happen. This is purely speculation. The only thing I know for sure is that we're getting the 10,000 rubies. And they are on a time restriction. And it's great to get these rubies. It's really cool. But what is it going to be for? We're going to have to wait and see. Because if you read all of these notes here, it doesn't say anything about what they're for, except for the fact that it's for the 3rd anniversary. So I honestly don't want to see another BS or SS banner right away. I think people need time to save the rubies. And if we are getting another banner, then hopefully we'll be able to use these rubies during that event. But I have no idea, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. Again, you know, it's nice to get these rubies, but at the same time, it does kind of scare you. It does kind of worry you because, you know, we've seen the trend of Netmarble lately, right? They give us these little events here, these login events for our rubies, and then they give us an SS or BS banner that we got to pull in. And it's like, I mean, look, guys, we appreciate the rubies, but you're really pushing us too much. You're pushing us to the limit. And it seems weird, but these kinds of things can actually push players away, which is something I definitely don't want to see for this game. So we're going to have to wait and see what all this entails, what's going to be coming, you know, during the login event of these rubies. But, you know, on one hand, we are getting the rubies. That's really cool. But what's it going to be for? That's going to be the question we're all going to be asking, and what all entails in that. But I want to clarify, well, not clarify, but I want to correct a few things that I talked about from yesterday's video in Guild Raid. After further testing and watching other videos, I was wrong about only Athena being able to, and I said so far, so I wasn't, you know, saying for sure she was the only person that could do this, but I thought she was probably the only character that could actually cancel Geese from doing his darkness, and that is wrong. There are actually quite a few characters that can do it. I mean, BS Rugal can do it with his 3PG, SS Mai can do it with her 3PG, Keo can do it with his 3PG, Nightmare Geese can do it with his 3PG. They all can cancel Geese from doing the darkness. So that is something to remember whenever you're using those characters. And if you bring in a certain striker like Yashiro or a shock damage striker, before you use the 3BG from a certain character that can actually cancel Nightmare Geese's darkness, then while you're, you know, when he raises his hand and you're canceling that darkness from the 3PG that you're using, you're going to be applying shock damage at the same time, and hopefully can break the meter before Geese will actually do his Raging Storm. So whenever you're setting up your teams, you want to set up teams that are going to be able to do that. You know, if you have any of those characters, if you have SS Mai, SS Athena, SS Keo, BS Geese, BS Rugal, if you have any of those characters, you know, set up a team to where you can actually, you know, you'll have the dot damage striker for that specific character. So for example, if I'm trying to cancel the Nightmare Geese's darkness with BS Rugal's 3PG, then I'm going to use Yashiro for a striker for him. And if you know, Nightmare Geese is still different because he has actually shock damage in his from his skills. He actually applies shock damage. So actually on Lunatic, you don't need to have a striker. But as you notice with this team, and I want to show you guys something a little bit different, and actually makes Goenitz pretty relevant. He actually can put in quite a bit of work for you on this team. Now, I am using Nightmare Geese because of the 20% PG rate leadership to attack TIE fighters and the increased 45% attack from his leadership. But we have Keo, and Keo actually does have the 3PG. He is attack type, right? He's got all the attack buffs, and he can cancel the roar. Or not cancel the roar, but he can cancel Nightmare Geese's Raging Storm. And Goenitz here cannot cancel the Raging Storm. And I'm going to have to do some further testing as to whether or not 5PGs can cancel it. But Goenitz here, something that's pretty cool, if you have this option card right here, this option card actually has a chance to apply shock damage upon using an active skill upon landing a critical hit. So characters that have lots of critical hits actually can do a lot of shock damage. Now, this isn't shock damage over time. This is not a dot effect over time. It's just the immediate shock damage initially, right? But Goenitz does so many hits on his skills, plus having the crit rate buff on his first skill, on his first skill, having that crit rate buff of 12% is massive. Now, Orochiori has the same thing, but he doesn't have any hyper armor. So if the darkness does get applied, Orochiori will die. He's just too fragile. He won't be that good against us, even though he has a great leadership for attack type fighters. He just won't. He really needs some survivability. He really needs a buff. But this buff that Goenitz has, and the fact that he has hyper armor, and the fact that he does have this short 3PG, is pretty insane. Now, I am using a PG rate card. You probably don't even need that if you're using Nightmare Geese for the leadership, because you're getting 20% PG rate. And Goenitz here actually has 30% PG rate in his core. And it's pretty cool that you can actually use a fighter that actually gets buffed up by Nightmare Geese. I mean, yes, I am using one SS character and one BS character, but this is another team. I mean, there are a slew of teams that you can, do some kind of synergy with, as far as, I mean, you could put Mai on this team. Mai would benefit also from Nightmare Geese's leadership. You could set up a full SS team where you're actually using SS Kyo, SS Mai, and SS Iori, which is actually the Omega team. Or Omega team. I said Omega. Omega team, right? That's the insane team. That's the best team I've seen so far for this, having the normal strikers that you use for Kyo and SS Mai, but having Lady Ashio or some kind of shock damage striker or poison damage striker for expert or lunatic mode. But I wanted to show you guys this because this is actually pretty freaking cool. Now, it's not going to be as good a score as what I would able to get using the team that I showed you guys yesterday. But, Nightmare Geese here, I am using the Serena set. The Serena set is Kingdom Come. And really the main thing with Nightmare Geese is I'm trying to build up his PG as much as possible. So I got these PG rate cards here from past collabs. These make a huge difference in the amount of PG you can gain. You can gain PG very, very fast. And the fact that this guy's shock damage is just massive, right? And Kyo, we've talked about Kyo. As far as Kyo, I am using the Serena set for him, and I actually am using the option card for him, but also this other option card that we were able to get from Seven Knights collab. And this is a pretty cool card because it actually increased active skill damage by 8%. It isn't going to increase his supers damage, but it will increase his active skill damage. And you do have a 20% chance to get super armor when attacked. Max Empress Stones and all these guys. And then Goenitz here, I'm using the Akane set, and I actually have double attack stones on 2 of the stones. I only have a HP stone on a single, so if I had another attack, we'd actually have more damage, and all of them have max capsules. So I want you to check this out. This is actually pretty wild. That option card is pretty freaking insane on Goenitz. Okay, so I've done this quite a few times now already. Been having some bad luck. Actually, there's a bug in here where you can't even use your skills. And that's actually happened to me a couple times, but I want you guys to watch what I'm doing here. So we start off with Nightmare Geese. We're going to apply the shock damage from the first skill, run through all of his skills, and then we're going to switch to Kyo. Now we already got shock damage applied from Nightmare Geese, right? So we're doing the 3PG, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get Kyo's hyper armor, and then I'm going to bring in Yashiro. We'll do our 3PG here, right? We want to do a short 3PG. And then we're going to switch to Nightmare Geese. Apply a little damage there. And, most of the time you can avoid the Raging Storm by doing this pattern. But, I mean, sometimes he does get you. He can be very See, like right there, God, like right there, he did get me. I mean, you got to be super, super fast. And again, it really does depend on the device that you play on. So right now, what's happening is Goenitz is taking a lot of darkness. And this is really the crux of using a character like Goenitz. He just doesn't have that great of survivability other than the hyper armor. He doesn't have a decreased damage received. So there, we canceled the Raging Storm. We were fast enough to be able to get Keo's 3PG in there. And we got shock applied right now from Nightmare Geese. And I try to hurry up and switch to Nightmare Geese as fast as I can. That way, you know, Goenitz doesn't take as much damage as fast. But it can be pretty difficult. Usually whenever I do this run, he does die after a little while. But I can usually put up high enough score that it's okay, right? I mean, I'm definitely going to be better with SS characters. And there we go, guys. Broke the meter, right? No shock was applied at that point, but the Stir Me option card kicked in and we just melted that bar. There we go. Thought I'd throw in a couple more little damage there while that meter was still going down. Could have just hit his 3PG. But sometimes you got to play things by ear. You know, you just got to play things as they're happening and improvise as you're playing throughout these guild raids. So now I'm going to bring in Yashiro. Right? And we were able to break the meter before Geese could do the Raging Storm. Let's go. So this isn't a bad run so far at all. We still got some life for Goenitz. We're not doing too bad at all. Woo! I'm just trying to be as fast as I can with my fingers and catch old Geese off guard, man. We do not want that darkness on the ground because Goenitz will die super fast. Man, it doesn't take long. So one thing that's kind of hurting me right now, like with the rotations for Geese, is I do have a PG card on him, right? So I'm actually losing cooldown. There we go. So right before I hit the 3PG, I brought in Yashiro so we could apply a lot of shock damage. And this is what I mean by you got to play it by ear. And there we go. And you can see Goenitz, he's low on life. He is about to frickin' die, right? I mean, it's pretty tough. You know, you're just, the most important thing is canceling the Raging Storm. There I brought in Yashiro. I want to try to beat that meter. The darkness hopefully will disappear by the time we bring in Goenitz. Yeah. There we go. We did have some darkness applied, which isn't good. Ooh. Geese was going to do the rebuke in there. We caught him. We're not really too worried about the rebuke, and we're really more worried about the Raging Storm. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And, you know, that damn darkness, man, it's just ridiculous. All right, we broke the meter. Hell yeah. There we go. We applied some shock from Yashiro. Get a little shock from the option card. There we go. I mean, and you guys, you can see that, you know, sometimes things just change throughout the fight. And you really do have to improvise as you're playing. It can be tricky. Now, I'm not going to finish this fight, but I just want to show you guys the kind of score you can get when you're doing this kind of method. And it really, and on a better device, you're actually going to do even better. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Here we go. So 371 million, guys. 371 million is what I was able to get right there. I almost messed up. I mean, I can get like 500 million using SS Team or more. Actually, I got 550 million in a later run that I did yesterday after I made that video yesterday. And, you know, but still, that's a respectable run. 370 million is no joke, especially in Lunatic. And you could do the same method for Expert. You could use a team like this, where you just throw in a different striker instead of Yashiro. You would have Zhang Fei, and Zhang Fei's got that 10 seconds of dot effect. So actually, after you use Kyo, right, you'd use Kyo, apply the poison damage, right, throughout his 3PG. Like right before you hit his 3PG, you'd bring in the poison damage dealer, and you're going to apply that over that time, and then the poison will still be applied afterwards, and you can bring in Goenitz and bump, 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 and just melt it really, really quick, which would be freaking phenomenal. That would be amazing, my friends. So I just wanted to throw out another little run against Nightmare Geese on Lunatic to show you guys that you can use other characters than SS characters. I know that I used Kyo, but man, he really is just so good. If it wouldn't have been Kyo, I would have been using SS Mai. Maybe I could have threw in a different character. Maybe I could have put in Rugal and done that. But either way, it's still going to work. And the fact that we could actually show off Goenitz a little bit was actually pretty cool. So let me know how you're all feeling about the Ruby event and what do you think is coming. And what kind of teams are you using for Guild Raid on whatever mode, whether it's normal, hard, expert, lunatic, whatever it may be. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT +7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.